There are over 2000 different mods in the vehicle category for Project Zomboid on Steam Workshop. And that's saying something. And what is that? Well, let's just say that vanilla vehicles require some major tuning. But what if I tell you there are mods out there which not only make the driving experience more realistic, but also make taking care of your cars much more immersive. Hey guys, I'm hxxrtt and this is the Mod Shed, a series where I break down various different mods for Project Zomboid, and today we are improving cars. Before we begin today's video, I should probably mention that I personally am not a car guy. I know how they operate in general, but never really went into specific details. And even I know that vanilla vehicle mechanics and vehicle physics are kind of flat and could use a major overhaul. And the mods I will be showcasing in today's video do have answers to these problems. The Project Summer Car is a mod which completely overhauls the engine mechanics and is something all of you who like to spend your weekends in the garage working on your cars will truly appreciate. And the realistic car physics is supposed to do what the name says, make the vanilla driving experience feel more like driving a real car. Now, for the purpose of making this video, I obviously started a new playthrough with only these two mods included in my mod list. Both the Project Summer Car and the Realistic Car Physics are highly customizable mods. Both of these mods will have a large variety of things you can customize in the sandbox options. Now, as mentioned, I am not much of a car guy, so I did not dare to make any changes in the base settings of these mods because I trust the people that make them. I trust the car mechanics, I trust the dealerships, and I trust the mod creators that they know what they're doing. But if you guys want to play around with the settings, there are plenty of options for you to choose. Now, what I can say is that even on these base settings, the driving feels totally different, and there are some cool things which are being fixed. I'm gonna mention that later, but first, since this is called a Project Summer Car, let's find ourselves a car which we will consider a project. I think this one looks pretty promising. It's a Masterson Horizon, it's a very basic standard type of a vehicle, and it looks a bit banged up, so exactly what we were looking for. Let me get inside the vehicle and haul it to the American Tire where I plan on working on it. Oh, but what is this message? Realistic car physics was not properly installed. Please see Steam page for more details. Okay guys, I fixed it and let me show you how. The solution is really simple and it's also well explained on the Steam page for the Realistic Car Physics mod. But essentially what you need to do is you need to go into the workshop folder and find the Realistic Car Physics mod and look for the zombie folder. And then what you need to do is you need to copy the zombie folder from the mod folder into the main game folder and simply replace the files that are duplicates. I did that, the cars do feel different, and I did not get that error message again, so I think it fixed the problem. And while I'm driving to the American Tire and my game decides to be incredibly laggy for no reason at all, you guys can see the revamped car dashboard, which is added through the Project Summer Car mod. We got all these cool indicators for fuel, the engine temperature, we've got oil, so all the different fluids you would normally use in a car, but they were never included in the vanilla version of the game. And also something I really like, it's those buttons on the right hand side of the dashboard, which you can simply click on those buttons and these will bring up all the different functions of the car. So you will bring up the radio, the air conditioning, lights. So essentially you will no longer need to press and hold the V key to bring up all of these different functionalities, which I find really cool. It's nice. I like this small but really pleasant change. Okay, so you open up the vehicle mechanics menu and you see exactly the same thing you would normally see, all the different car parts and their condition. hxxrtt, apparently the mod is not working for me. Well, that's not exactly the case. You see, you have to go deeper, because this mod overhauls the engine mechanics, not the overall mechanics of the car, the engine mechanics, and that's what you have to do. Right click the engine and go to Inspect Engine. Once you do that, just like in this example, a whole new window will show up on your screen, and this is going to be the Engine Contextual Mechanics menu. So you will see all the different parts of the engine, and the general logic behind this is exactly the same as in regular mechanics. So each part of the engine has its own quality and has its own type, and they will impact the car performance. So you will see things like spark plugs, all kinds of different parts of the engine, which I have no clue what they're doing, but depending on the condition and quality of these parts, your engine will have an output quality and output horsepower determined by these things. And on the right hand side of this menu, you will have things like fluids, oil, all the peripherals related to those fluids. And you guys have no idea how many times I had to retake this particular voiceover, because you have no clue how difficult it is to say peripherals of fluids for people with my accent. But I am getting sidetracked, so let's talk about replacing the different parts. You do it exactly the same way as you would do with regular vehicle mechanics: right click, remove part, and here's the deal. All the parts which are added through this mod are not spawnable items, so you're not expected to find them here or in auto shops or, you know, in garages and stuff, at least not for now. The only way to source these parts? Well, taking them out of different vehicles. Unless there is something I've missed, and guys, if there is, you know what the comment section is for, right? In this example, I did take out the spark plug from the engine and, well, basically rendered the vehicle inoperable, as the spark plug is required to trigger the combustion process, and this is an internal combustion engine vehicle. No combustion, no operation. See, I know something about cars after all. What is also worth mentioning is that different parts have different skill level requirements for us as players to work on them. So for example, the spark plugs, if I'm not mistaken, it only requires level 2 of mechanics, but if you want to mingle with the core parts of the engine, your mechanics skill needs to go all the way to level 7. So you'd not be able to restore a car to a mint condition without knowing a lot about cars. That's the logic behind, and I think it makes perfect sense, so kudos to the creator. And if you are paying attention to what's happening on screen when I am explaining all these things, you would notice that the engine quality did go up, and also the horsepower is now dynamic. So the higher quality of the parts put in the engine, the higher the output horsepower, which is a really cool feature on its own, and I totally love it. And I'm sure all you petrol heads will love it as well. Before we go out and test drive and also see how the revamped car physics work, there is one more thing I wanted to mention, which I think is important. So essentially, you can see me, I spawned a lovely Corvette because I wanted to pull out all the interior of the engine from this Corvette and put it into my Masterson. Unfortunately, that's not possible because Corvette is a sports car, while the Masterson is a standard vehicle, and the individual engine components will simply not match that other type of vehicle. And I think this is a way to make a distinction between different types of engines. I could imagine the sports vehicles have a different type of an engine than your regular family car. I know there are V6, V8 engines. Now again, I'm not an expert, I'm just assuming, but I think this is the way for the creators to make that distinction. So if you find a really good conditioned vehicle, you want to salvage parts from it, well, you're able to do that as long as it is the same type of a vehicle. If it's not, I'm sorry, maybe you need to switch cars. Okay, enough yapping. I'm gonna set the condition of the engine to 100%. You will notice a significant boost in the horsepower, and we're gonna test drive this baby now. And this is something that's really hard to really capture on video. You kind of have to experience it yourself to fully understand the changes. If you've driven enough in Project Zomboid and have gotten used to the way that the cars behave, this is a big change. You will notice this especially when I start to make left and right turns. I like the skid sounds that add this extra flavor to driving, but the whole car seems to act slightly differently. After driving for a while, I think what I can say is that the car is less oversteering, so it's not reacting as rapidly to any change as it normally does in vanilla, which for me made the car feel a bit more stable in general, and I really liked it. And one final thing before we close today's Modshed episode. A massive upgrade, something you will all love, and that is towing. Now, I'm pretty sure that any person who ever tried to tow a trailer in Project Zomboid either got their car flipped or the trailer was barely moving. Now, thankfully, the car physics overhaul fixes this issue. Have a look at the smoothness of this ride, and realistically, this pickup truck is nothing too powerful. It's just your basic pickup, but it's managing to pull this trailer with incredible ease. I even tried to force the trailer to flip over by doing some really weird left and right turns, but it still remained fairly stable. Not sure how realistic is that because I would never do that on a public road, but it's definitely much more pleasant than it was in vanilla. So if you have issues with towing, this alone is a good reason to use this mod on a regular basis. And of course I would forget about something, so adding it at the end of the video. While the engine parts added through the Project Summer Car mod do not spawn, the vehicle fluids do spawn. Here is an example. But if for some reason you're unable to find them anywhere, you are also able to collect them from the other vehicles, just like you would do with the engine parts. Yeah, I just wanted to add that. We can now formally close the video. Now, as always, I'm gonna link both of the mods showcased in today's video in the description, so make sure to check it out. And even for me, a person who's not really into cars, preparing this content for you and playing around with the engine, seeing all the different options you can have, was a lot of fun. So I can imagine people who are enthusiasts will absolutely love it. And that's also probably why the Project Summer Car is one of the hottest mods right now and very frequently downloaded. If you haven't checked it out, you're missing out, guys. As always, a shout out to all the tier 3 members of the channel. Guys, huge thanks for all the support. If you want to become a member, there are options, I'm sure you'll find them. Thanks for staying till the end of the video, it really helps the algorithms to push my content forward. I would appreciate if you drop a comment or a like, this will help also. And yeah, I think that's everything that I've had prepared for you today, guys. So, as always, I'm hxxrtt. Cheers!